Hello, rollers! Welcome back to Classing Up the Joint. This is just a quick intro to tell you we had such a great time talking with the Slovenly Trulls, and as it turned out, we had a lot to say about both Bards and Druids. So we have broken this episode up into two pieces. Part 1 with Bards coming at you right now, as soon as I'm done talking. Part 2 with Druids coming at you in 2 weeks. Both of these are super exciting. It is, as always, such a great time to hang out with them. And thank you all for listening. Enjoy part 1, part 2 coming at you very soon. Well, I decided I was going to do this very dumb intro that I'm going to spring on you. Slovenly Trulls, they're big, bad, evil girls. Welcome back to the Roll Report, where we torture our guests with bad renditions of their intro music.
It was wonderful. What do you mean?
Thank you. I am your host, Colin. I use they and he pronouns, and I am joined once again by my fabulous friends, the Slovenly Trulls. Hello, Lyssa and Shardae. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Hi, thanks you for having us.
I mean, anytime. As we have already noted, we can talk for hours, and some people will find it very interesting.
We are some people. We will find it interesting.
We are so people.
That's all that matters.
It really is. I feel like I want to start by saying, like, it's been a hot minute. What's new on the Trolls agenda, either collectively or individually? What do you have coming up that we can be excited about?
Gosh, well, I think Lyssa has more like project outside of the Trolls. I can just plug. We're just popping out episodes still every month. We've been, I think since the last time we were here, we've really gone deep into devils and demons in D&D lore and mythology. That's kind of been our hyper focus for a bit. We're very deep right now into demons and the abyss. And It's been a trip. It's been very fun, but it has been a trip. And that is, if you tune into our podcast, that's our most recent stuff that we've been up to. Also, trying to navigate the new Twitter space because everything keeps getting worse on there.
Have you joined the exodus to Blue Sky yet?
I've been on Blue Sky since it was like I got an invite like a couple months in. So we were on Blue Sky a while ago. And then like all of these accounts just started following us recently. We got like 30 plus new people coming in, and I'm just like, hello, hi. I've been here forever, but I'm so glad that you're here. But Blue Sky is a great place to be. You can find us on Blue Sky, and it's much chiller there. But Lyssa has a lot more stuff outside of the Trolls, though.
Okay. Well, Lyssa, you and I got to stream together, which was awesome. But what else have you got coming up?
Yeah, we did. That was so much fun. What else am I working on? I am part of Castleton, which is a humongous taking on project by AJ, who is part of the Winter's Tales in Australia, and it's like 100 or so content creators coming together to play D&D in this massive story. The plot is the gist of the Hunger Games and Bridgerton combined.
Okay.
So it's finding love and fighting for it, that kind of thing. But also political intrigue and stuff like that. So I play a demigod on there, which is a lot of fun.
Very cool. I will say, again, we were just talking about this, the DM Resources Facebook group. Someone posted this whole thing about trying to use Umberslee in their campaign. And I was just like, aha, do I have an episode for you to get some cool lore about? And well received. I think that person went on to be very excited about it.
Amazing.
Well,
we love Lumber.
Yeah, I'm so excited for all these things. And I'm so excited to talk about some new classes with you guys. This is going to be part 1 of our multiple part series examining the difference between 2014 and 2024 rules. I think we're going to look specifically at Bard and the Druid today, and I want to, since you have each picked one of these, I want to give you a moment to be like, why is this the thing? I know we've talked about favorite classes, but like, why are these the ones? Lyssa, turn to you first.
Why are these the ones that we picked? You mean?
Yeah, or why Druid specifically?
Why'd you pick Druid?
Yeah.
To be honest, okay, bit of lore for me. I started off playing D&D with very melee heavy characters. So I played a barbarian, and I played a barbarian and a monk. And so my foray into magic casters was very overwhelming because there's so many spells to learn, and I said, that's way too much. I'm overwhelmed. I know what a wizard is and how they do it. And like, I just needed something that was easy to kind of go into a magic caster. And for some reason, I picked Druid. I think I've always been a horse girl. I go to horse. So that was kind of a natural tendency. I guess. And also there's like the whole, I'm from Finland. Finland's big on nature stuff. There's like a whole link there. But yeah, I decided on a whole, like, I roll randomly for spells because Druids change their spells every day. So I roll randomly. I don't decide. And then whatever, I will learn them each time I roll. I'll like go through the list and be like, okay, I picked that one. And then like I learn that spell because I have it prepared, and then I learn what it does. So like slowly as I roll random spells for my character, which is I love chaos. Like, you know this if you've ever seen me play.
That's so cool. I've told people to just pick based on the names and if it sounds cool. If like people that are newer and don't understand the spell.
It helps.
That's yeah. And what a great way to both get the chaos you're after and slowly build the knowledge base, back brain, memory, English words I speak.
But also like druids are very interesting because like there's a lot of different flavors of druid, I guess, which is
totally
a fun thing to do. You can do a lot of stuff as a druid. So I guess that's kind of why I picked druids. I also have played obnoxiously many druids recently. I don't know why. It just ended up that way.
Do you lean towards a specific circle, or are you trying to like experience the many different subclasses and circles of druid through this?
I try to try everything, but I mean, my first one was the mushroom spores, circle of spores, because obviously it's necromantic and it's a druid. Like, what's not to like? And you just make a character obsessed with mushrooms. Like, like I love it.
Fantastic. Yeah, they're so great. It's one of my favorite subclasses for sure. Shardae, over to you and the Bard.
Well, I mean, last time I was on this podcast, I was very adamant that Bard is my favorite class and the best class. So as soon as you were like, what kind of classes do you want to look into? I'm like, well, obviously, like not even a question. The other question was, do we make Lyssa also look into the Bard? Like, no, let Lyssa pick her own class. So otherwise it'll just be me yapping about Bards. So I love Bards.
Yeah.
I think they're the most quintessential D&D class ever. And I was really interested into all the changes because I hadn't looked into them yet. Yeah. And as somebody who played a Bard up to level 20, the last time I played a Bard, I was very curious as to how she didn't reach level 20 in full Bard. I did multi-class into cleric, but she was like mostly a Bard up to level 20.
My highest level character did exactly the same thing because, as we have stated on this podcast a number of times, the 2014 level 20 Bard capstone is garbage.
Awful.
It's garbage.
Awful.
And yeah, I did like 1 or 2 levels of trickery cleric, and it was super fun.
Yeah. I think I did life cleric because it just kind of popped up in the campaign. We needed a healer. She married a paladin, and I'm just like, well, this makes sense. I like this. Yeah. Let's do this.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, and so I think that gives us also a nice little balance where like, as Lyssa and I talk about the druid Shardae, you can be like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. I've never heard such an insane thing. And
could just
vice
be like,
versa. Yeah.
Doing all my reactions.
Some fun new information.
Yeah.
Well, I think with that, let's just dive right in. I was gonna say I would flip a coin, and I feel like I don't actually have a coin here to see where we start.
I might. Hold on.
Oh, gay. Yes.
I have my dice. Hold on. I think I have a
You
D2.
can do evens or odds for the dice.
Great.
I do. I have a D2. I have a D2. So would you like a Kraken or the number one? Because these are Kraken dice. Kraken or one for which one?
Let's say Kraken for Druid, number one for Bard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Great.
Kraken is like nature. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Number one.
All right. Starting out with bards. And we'll see how this goes. So, okay. Maybe as a level 1 bard, things that you get. Where am I? I'm on 2024. Looking at this right now. Okay. Most of this looks similar. Your primary ability is charisma, a D8 of hit point die and hit dice, dexterity and charisma saving throws. Any 3 skill proficiencies. Is that immediately different, or is 2014, is it restricted to a certain list of skills?
I don't. Let me double check because I actually don't know off the top of my head. Let's see.
I think that's still the same.
Flipping all the way back. Yeah, I think it is any of your, choose any 3 because bards are very versatile. And I think they've been that way from the beginning. So really the only thing that changes is how bardic inspiration works, because you do get that level 1 and you do get it at level 1 in both classes. But in 2024, just how bardic inspiration works, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, yeah. So yes, starting equipment, armor, tool proficiencies, any musical instrument. Yeah, that all looks the same. So the big first thing is inspiration. Hit me with the 2024 and let me go back and pull up where the 2014 was so I can look at the differences.
So it's pretty similar in how it works, but they just changed like 2 major things. So they changed the wording of who can get bardic inspiration. I believe in 5th edition, it was just creatures that could hear you, but in D&D 1, D&D 5.5, whatever we're calling it these days, it's a creature who can see or hear you. So they don't actually need to hear you anymore, that you can like do gestures or anything, which is honestly so much better.
Yeah.
It's like more inclusive and it's more versatile.
More inclusive, yeah.
And also, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that is, I have heard from people that have read a little bit more than me. There are a number of smaller attempts to change the mechanics to make them more inclusive of people that want to play a deaf character or who are deaf and want to bring that into their character in the game, or use ASL or non-American, use sign language and other
just
things.
Use any sign language,
So okay,
that's great.
Can you inspire yourself now? No, that's still the same. Okay.
You literally never can, but I always in my games, whenever my bard, Lyssa, asks, can I inspire myself? I'm like, I don't know, what do you do? And then we'll roll like a D20 or I'll have her convince me because I think it's funny.
Oh, I love that.
If bards can inspire themselves occasionally, and I think it's a shame that there's no subclass or ability that they get that they can just pump themselves up because like self-care and self-love.
Lyssa, can you give me an example of a good self-inspo from this game? If there's one popping to memory.
I can't remember what I said, but I play a very obnoxious socialite, so it would be something along the lines of like adds more makeup, feels more pretty, has more self-confidence. Be like, looks in the mirror like, you can do this. That lipstick looks perfect. Like, that line has never been as detailed as that. We can do this.
Incredible. Oh, I love it.
That's amazing. I think the other thing they changed on inspiration is instead of lasting 10 minutes, because you can cast bardic inspiration, or not really cast, but use it in battle or use it out of battle. It only lasts 10 minutes in game, which has come up so many times when I played a bard, when I've had bards in my party. 10 minutes is not enough. So they changed that to an hour in game. And I'm like, thank God. That is a great change.
I'm going to say pretty unequivocally that seems like inspiration has been improved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely has.
And I think similarly, you can use it equal to your charisma modifier and regain at a long rest at its base. Yeah, and then the progression of the D8 of the die is the same. Okay, all right. Point for 2024. I have to say.
Yay!
Are we keeping tallies?
Oh God, we can. I can try to make some notes here. Yeah, all right. Let's do it real quick. 2014 versus 2024. We got 0.1 for 2024.
All right.
All right. Second level, moving right along, breezing through it. So in 2014, second level gives you Jack of all trades and your Song of Rest. Jack of all trades being half of your proficiency bonus added to any ability check, which
great skill.
One of the best things about
one
Bard.
of the best.
And Song of Rest that I would argue is, I think I've said
Awful.
more useful. Well, it's more useful in a full campaign or a dungeon crawl where you're actually going to use a short rest to recover hit dice.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I think Song of Rest is only useful in a dungeon crawl because I played a bard in a 3-year-long campaign, and I could not tell you when I used it. I think I maybe used it 1 or 2 times. But also, we played a campaign that was very heavily roleplay based, and we did do combat, but it was more if the story called for combat, not like, we're just going to roll on a random table because we're traveling or whatever. Sometimes we would do that, but mostly it was roleplay based. So they just nuked it from the new edition. Song of Rest doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like,
wow. Cool.
Valid.
Honestly, that seems fine.
And they moved up expertise. You don't get it at third level, you get it at second. And I'm like, shit, that's so good.
That's
holy. Yeah.
I mean, DMs are going to have to do a little more to prepare for your low-level players still having some
low-level bard
abilities.
Yeah. Wow. Expertise, best skill in the whole game, fight me. Like any class. I think Rangers also get it in the new player's handbook. I haven't double-checked that, but I think in the playtest they got expertise. And I'm like, more people need that.
Have they made
it's an
Rangers
amazing skill.
Less terrible?
I don't know. I hope they have improved Rangers. Because Rangers have such a bad rap, and they are such an amazing concept, and I want them to have their their heyday,
Right?
Yeah.
I'm making a face because I was going back for a moment to both editions get spell casting as your first level feature, and I'm trying to see. It looks like there is a very small difference in the number of spells you can prepare.
So they changed
spells known.
They changed how bards prepare spells now. That's not in 2014. Bards prepare spells.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. I'm pretty neutral on it, so I'm interested in both of your opinions on it because I like how different classes treat magic differently. I like how clerics is different than druid, is their prepared spells or even work differently, is different from bard, is different from sorcerer, where they just kind of know a set number of spells and you can change it out in 2014 whenever you level up. But now I think all spellcasters prepare spells, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. And this isn't just a bard thing. I think it might be across the board. We might also run into it with druid, but they've always prepared spells. So I'm just curious what you two think about that change, because I don't know if I'm sold on it yet. I think I'm pretty neutral, but I'm curious on your opinions on it.
Lyssa, I want to hand it to you first, because we've been talking for a minute. Yeah.
In terms of how bards make magic, they make it from art, they make it from performance, they make it from. So it's interesting that you would, because preparing spells would be changing spells, right?
Yeah, you change them every day, or you have the ability to.
So it's interesting that they wouldn't be limited to so I don't know, going off the cuff, like you have a bard who plays the violin or something. They gain inspiration from the song. They gain inspiration, or like not inspiration, but like they use their spell from the song in this way. They get inspired to get something from, I don't know, the shape of the violin or something. Like it's more artistic narratively. Or you can make it more narratively interesting if you are able to like prepare spells, because like art is everywhere, creativity is everywhere. The fact that you're pulling things every day, new things every day, I like that narratively. And if I'm a new player and I don't know the spells, I do not like having to prepare every day.
Yeah. That's a big setback,
and I would want to choose a class that has like, I just pick like 5. I'm stuck with those, and then I just die or succeed. Like I'm down.
And that doesn't exist in 2024.
I'm down. I made my decisions, and then I'm gonna go down on the Titanic.
I'll go down with the ship.
Yeah. Welcome back to the mid-roll, everybody. It is I, Colin, your host and sometimes GM, here to thank you once again for listening to the Roll Report and classing up the joint with our new fabulous guests, continuing our deep dives into 2024 classes. As you may have noticed, this episode is split in 2. This is part 1 with our dear friends, the Slovenly Trulls, and part 2 will be coming at you in just a couple short weeks, finishing up this interview, discussion, talk, what have you. Following that, more dives into 2024 classes will continue in January of 2025, because there's a lot of classes. And onwards. Remember, for as little as $1 a month on our Patreon at patreon.com/therollreport, you get special exclusive Q&As with all of our guests that no one else will get, and you can submit questions that you would like to hear the answers to from all of these wonderful guests. As a reminder, coming up at you, we have Connie Chong, we have Sebastian Yue, Patrick Preeny, and Emily Graymore, Kitty Stryker, Hannah and myself looking at raw rules as written. And if you have questions about 2024 rules, and we have so many, please head on over to patreon.com/therollreport, send us a little note, drop us a line, give us $1, and we will get to those questions, we or our interview guests, depending on who it is you'd like to hear from. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at The Roll Report Cast everywhere you'd care to look. And where I care to look is where people are. TikTok, Instagram, and now Blue Sky. Because we're all leaving Twitter behind, right? We agreed? Yeah, it's kind of gross. Follow us over there. News about what's coming up, all sorts of exciting stuff. And I think that's all for me. Back to the show. Bye. I feel like I mostly agree. I think, prepared spell lists are kind of overwhelming for newer players. And there's a way that bards are overwhelming anyway, because you can kind of choose from such a wide spell list. If we look at the 2014 rules, every time you level up, you've got a massive
we haven't even
list.
Gotten to magical secrets yet. We haven't even gotten there
right?
yet.
Oh, God. Yes, we'll get there. We'll get all the things.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're saying, Lyssa, that I agree that it does provide more roleplay flavor in a lot of ways for a bard who can change their magic and learn new things or try new things based on drawing inspiration from the world around them for their art. I think at the same time, my quibble is a bit more a mechanical one, in that one of the things I like about the 2014 bard is that you're not locked into your spell list, but you're much more locked in than many other classes, since you can only swap out a spell as you level up, and you're limited to the ones that you have picked. And I think that limitation creates interesting creativity and customization.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's not a hill I want to die on because I don't think it's worth it. Maybe get maimed lightly.
Yeah. There are like pros and cons to both, I think, which is why I'm so neutral about it. I'm just like, I totally agree with what Lyssa's saying. I think it's so interesting. You could literally role play it out as like the bard with the violin, doing her warm-ups in the morning, like learning her spells and like doing this beautiful like thing every day as part of your character's routine or whatever. And that's wonderful. And like, or you could play the fleeting inspiration card, like, oh, I liked this spell yesterday, but then I saw this tree and I want to glide through the trees now or something, you know? But if it's with all classes, it's interesting how you would flavor that for all classes. So I don't know. I feel like I need to like look at how it's portrayed in other classes.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm trying to read it really closely, and there's a way actually that I think prepared spells it almost has a slightly different meaning. Okay. Whenever you gain a bard level, you can replace one spell on your list with another bard spell for which you have slots. That is the same. You prepare the list of level 1 plus spells for you to cast. The number of spells increases.
So it's like the wizard. So it's like how wizards do it. So when druids level up, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, more when we talk about druids, you have access to the whole spell list at all times. Yeah. At all times is overwhelming as hell.
And the preparation is any long rest, not, And
when you're a cleric and a wizard, you have a specific list of spells. You gain certain spells and you have your set spell list that is larger than what you can prepare. So you prepare certain spells from that list. So I think it's more the wizard archetype. So actually, I'm curious if druids kind of got nerfed in that way, which I guess we'll come to. So I'm going to keep that in mind for when we get to that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to come. I feel like spell classes neutral or spell
neutral
casting.
opinion.
There we go.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel like it's an improvement, but I appreciate the effort, I guess.
Yeah, A for effort.
Yeah, right? Well, okay, jumping next. What do we got? Third level. In 2014, third level would give you your expertise, which we know is now earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, we love this. And give you your subclasses, which we're not going to dive into because that is going to require so much more time.
So much more time. They did add a new one, which is great. I'll just say that I really like it a lot.
I am excited about that. Yeah, like really, really fast. The College of Dance looks pretty cool.
So cool.
It kind of looks like a bard monk.
It is a bard monk. I looked at it and I'm like, this is a bard monk. It's so cool. You can like high kick people. It's amazing.
It's a pretty cool bard monk. I'm pretty into it, I think.
Same.
So yeah, that's cool. And what is the next major feature, I think, is it at 6th level? Because fourth is still an ability score. 5th level is an upgrade to your inspiration die.
Because it's short or long rest instead of just a long rest, which I think is about the same.
And
subclass feature.
Yes. The font. Okay, and font of inspiration is the same?
Yes.
Is the same.
I believe so.
Okay. No, I'm noticing one new thing that I think is pretty interesting. In the 2024 rules, at level 5, you can expend a spell slot to regain an expended use of bardic inspiration.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Like sorcery points. Heck yes. I like it.
They've done that for a couple different ones because there's something similar for druids as well, where you can
for their beast shape.
Yeah, where you can like transfer things between each other and do math, except it's not math because it's like, but still,
it's
like equivalent exchange.
Yeah,
I mean, this to me opens some homebrew for like, well, if you burn a 6th level slot, do you get multiple uses of inspiration back, or is it always just a 1-to-1 no matter the power of the spell slot?
Rules is written, it looks like 1-to-1, but I'd be super open as a DM, especially when like higher levels are involved and like, hey, I've expended all of my inspiration slots. We're about to go into this big battle. Can my character, I would ask like, what would your character do that's different? And then you would, weave that into the homebrew if that's what you're into. Rules is written, it wouldn't work that way, but I feel like a lot of DMs would be pretty open to like talking about that.
And this is where I hope and assume the most important sentence from the DM guide has stayed the same, which is rules are just guidelines. DM gets to decide whatever the hell they want.
We play by the pirate's
Paraphrased.
code.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that.
I like it too.
Moderate improvement. Yeah.
Okay, give a point to
another small
give a point
for 2024.
All right.
Leading 2-1 or 2-0, I guess, right now.
Okay.
If we're really keeping score.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, have to.
We're competitive here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm rooting for, but like, I like to see the competition.
Absolutely. Okay. So 6th level. It looks like both no, 6th level is just a subclass feature in 2024, and then 7th is Counter Charm. Counter Charm has maintained, and 7th and 2014 rules, you get nothing special.
Yes.
Okay.
Counter Charm has improved, though. I read Counter Charm.
Ooh.
I am so hyped for the new Counter Charm. You have no idea.
In its original form, you use an action to perform until the end of your next turn. So you sacrifice a full, depending on action economy, basically a full turn, full round.
Or two, yeah.
Or two to give you and any friendly creatures in 30 feet advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. And it must be able to hear you.
Yes.
And it can end early in some conditions. Okay, so what have they done in 2024?
I am so freaking excited. It is not an action anymore. It's a reaction. It's a reaction.
Amazing.
It's so good. So I never used this when I played a bard because I didn't want to sacrifice an entire turn, especially during a battle where like I played the majority healer. Like I really did need to like kind of have available things I also had big damage spells. And I really wanted to use Counter Charm because a big part of my character's backstory was not being controlled and not not really being controlled. That's not quite the right wording, but not being told what to do, basically, and not having like any illusions or charm effects. Like she didn't like that at all. It was a big part of her backstory. And I never got to use Counter Charm to help her party with it because it just took up so much space. But now you can just like point at your friend who is potentially rolling against being frightened or charmed, which is basically like any charm effect, and then be like, no, actually listen to me. Hello, hi, like I'm trying to help. And it just makes so much more sense as a mechanic, and it makes more sense narratively. Whereas before, you also kind of basically with the old rules had to know that a creature was probably going to charm you too, in a way. So you would like have to plan out using Counter Charm.
Or that they had the capability of doing so.
Yeah.
Because by the time you realize, depending on how you play this out, like you have a character that's charmed, they either start running away or they start acting differently. Like you would have to spend either, depending on the DM, like an entire action just like perceiving them to even see what is happening. So would you spend that action to see them, to be able to witness that, or would you actually be focusing on like dealing damage, healing, doing something else on that? So is it logical?
Absolutely. I appreciate it as both more useful and it has not gone overboard since it takes your reaction and you can't do it
and it's
8 times around, but you can stop at least one of your companions, hopefully, from.
And also it's not a guarantee that they're going to succeed. It's just giving them advantage. It's not like, you're not going to do it, which is like, it could be pretty overpowered. Let's just put it. You don't expend an inspiration to use it. You don't expend a spell slot to use it. You just, if you want, you could spend every reaction giving somebody advantage if you really wanted to. And which is great, but it could maybe be overpowered in some situations. But honestly, given how nerfed it was in 2014, I don't care. This is great. I love this. Point for 2024.
I have to agree. Another point in 2024's favor, like it's just more useful. I think people are just more likely to actually use it in their games. And that, I think at this base level, that's a win. Just making people want to do the thing more seems like a good an improvement. Yeah. Wow. Great. Okay, and then we hit several things that are I think the same. 8th level is an ability score improvement in both. 9th level, let's see, 9th level in the Song of Rest die goes up in 2014. And does anything? No, nothing happens in 2024. Is that right? Or another expertise?
Expertise, okay. Because you get it earlier, so it kind of moved up in the chart, like one step, okay. It looks like, which makes sense. So
the level progression changes a lot here because in 2014, at 10th level, your Bardic Inspiration die changes, you get expertise, and you get magical secrets all at, whoa, that's a big level up.
That's a big level up, yeah. That's when things get super serious.
I appreciate splitting them out a little bit.
Yeah, same.
In that way. So expertise adds a couple new things. Let's talk about magical secrets. The coolest thing about bards. Maybe I will die on that hill.
No, you're not wrong. Bards have such cool things, magical secrets. It depends what flavor of bard you really like too, though.
True.
But magical secrets.
I feel like it's so much like the Mystic Arcanum of Warlock to me that you can just really just be like, no, that thing over there that wizard has, I like it. It's mine now.
No, actually, I want to cast Fireball, bitch.
Right?
I would like that. Please and thank you. It's great.
So the original language just says at 10th and then at 14th and again at 18th, you get 2 spells from any other class's spell list, and it must be a level you can cast or a cantrip. They count as bard spells and are included in your bard table. What have we done in 2024?
They've
if anything,
made bards the most overpowered class I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
In my opinion, I haven't looked at any. So I'll just read what it says, and you guys can interpret it how you did. Because when I interpreted it, I was like, they did not just say that, did they? Am I reading this wrong? You've learned secrets from various magical traditions. Whenever you reach a bard level and the prepared spells number in the bard feature table increases, so this is level 10 onward, you can choose any of your new prepared spells from the bard, cleric, druid, or wizard spell lists, and the chosen spells count as bard spells for you. In addition, whenever you replace a spell prepared for this class, you can replace it with a spell from those lists. So from level 10 on, magic is at your fingertips, baby. You can do anything you want. Isn't that nuts?
Bard, cleric, druid, or wizard.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you basically have 10 levels. Spells. And you have 10 levels where you can just completely replace your whole prepared spell list with stuff from other classes.
Dude,
isn't that insane?
The min-maxers are gonna go
have
crazy
a fucking field
with
day.
this. They're gonna have a field day. It's like, what's the most fucked up combination of spells that you could possibly give yourself from all of these magic casters?
if you multi-class it, just a 10th level bard with a 10th level wizard who then just gets a bunch of bards, but Jesus.
They all count as bard spells with expertise.
You could get a spell that requires intelligence, as you're casting, but not for you. It's all Riz. It's all Riz, baby. It is so good. I read that and I'm like, I had a conniption. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. I also had a character idea. I'm like, if I ever play a bard again, which I would love to, but a different flavor than I went into last time, I'd love to do a bard that's level 10 that's pretending to be a wizard. I think that'd be the funniest thing ever. Or pretending to be another class or a cleric or something.
No, I'm just very, very artistic wizard. What's wrong with you? I can have right and left brain thinking.
Yeah. How dare you stereotype? And it's really just a big
Oh my God.
It's so good.
And then as a bard, you try and gain entry into the Wizards Guild or something ridiculous.
Or you already have, and you just tricked everyone.
See, I just want to make this happen for you now. This sounds incredible.
I want it so bad.
Okay, I want to label this an improvement, but I'm scared of it as a DM and what min-maxers will do with it.
As you should be. Any DM looking, like my first reaction was like, oh my God, my old bard would have had a field day. And then I had my DM brain and I'm like, oh my God, hold on. Actually, hold on. Wait. It's so good. I want to label it as an improvement though, because it made me just giddy.
Have to. I feel like we have, like, it just, the amount of things that it lets you do.
Yeah.
But it's on the verge of like broken.
It's so broken.
Well, and someone surely already has. I think, something floated across some social media. First broken multi-class, whatever. I'm like, people have already done this with a Bard with Magical Secrets. But
I do also want to say too, I know we're not talking super into subclasses, but I do want to say, because I did notice this and I think it's worth pointing out, in the College of Lore,
oh God,
you get additional magical secrets called magical discoveries, which means that every time you have magical secrets, that means you just always have those spells prepared.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Yep. Okay, momentary digression, because I'm looking at like the art here.
Gorgeous art.
And so
gorgeous art. Gorgeous art.
Yeah, gorgeous art. It seems to have been made by actual humans, at least according to the attributions. And I don't know, I'm appreciating the College of Dance one to me is a pretty queer-coded, mask-presenting person with like a pretty flamboyant outlook. Love that. Nice little side shave. Always a fan. And then we've got sort of this like amazing punk rock elf.
She's such
for the
a vibe.
College of Glamour art with it's like real kind of sexy punk vibe. We can make the usual quibble about armor never covering the appropriate parts of femme bodies in most art, but it's not really supposed to be that. And I actually think it's pretty good. And then I love the lore bard. It's to describe it is a pretty happy appearing, darker skinned human, I want to say, with a big smile and a magical gesture, holding a book and a pack of scrolls, and like I'm going to say just a larger body than usually is presented in fantasy
normal
art.
Body type.
A normal body type.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And then we have a nice little dragonborn with a shield and a sword for the Valor Bard. That's also good, but I think less impactful to me in this moment. Yes, great art.
Yeah.
But to see more body representation is really cool.
Wow. Yeah, chef's kiss.
Right. Okay. Well done on the art, people that chose and created it. Okay. Continuing on through our march, we've got. So I think just in the 10th to 20th level, it looks like a couple of the specific things have changed places, like where Magical Secrets or a Bard College feature comes in, and when the inspiration die changes. That looks like that looks like the only big difference, especially since Song of Rest is now gone. But the big thing it looks like is where superior quote unquote inspiration was your 20th level feature.
Barf.
Yes, garbage.
Garbage.
So it is now 18th level, so a little bit more useful, debatably. Okay, so at 20th level in 2014, superior inspiration, if you roll initiative and have no bardic inspiration left, you regain 1. So useful. What a reward for getting to 20th level.
It also it doesn't look like it's improved that much, honestly. I honestly think this should be moved to a lower level, to be quite honest, because for a level 18 feature, when you roll initiative, you regain expended uses of bardic inspiration until you have 2, if you have fewer than that. And you can get up to like 5. Like I still don't like it. I don't know why they included it. Or if they included it, why they didn't include it at a lower level, and then maybe it levels up with you or something. Like that'd be a huge improvement. But also, like I think they're pretty overpowered at this point. So I mean, like if they added any more power, like wait,
but it is just like it's kind of a useless thing. Like it's remained a little bit. I don't know.
It's ick.
Okay.
It's
icky. It's something, because I think from what I've read about the Druids, they sort of did that similar thing. I think at the same level, where it's like if you start initiative, you gain like I think it was like 1 wild shape use.
Oh,
at the
okay.
beginning of that.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay.
It
Yeah,
might
yeah,
be
yeah.
something. I don't know that this is, but it might be something across the board that like for
Yeah.
each class they gain. Like if you start initiative at level 18 and you don't have the thing that you're supposed to be able to do because you're this class, that you would
Key
gain
point, wild shape.
one of them
thing.
at that point.
Okay. I can appreciate the effort, but I think it's still
By the time you're this level, like even with any other class, I feel like it should be like a mid-level potentially thing.
It feels a little bit like an afterthought. And again, I would say it feels like a thing that as a DM, I would try to homebrew it to maybe kick in around like 12th level and scale up with you. Because I think my goal would also be to encourage more uses of inspiration. Like every subclass has a really cool thing that they can do with their inspiration in addition to its normal. And to encourage people to do that more, I would be like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's where I'm going to land it in this moment anyway.
Yeah, it's lukewarm. I wouldn't really give a point to either edition for this one.
Fair.
Because I don't think it's worth it.
Nope. More neutral.
Yeah.
And so we've also, it looks like, going back, they taken out one ability score improvement. In 2014, at your 19th level, you get a final ability score improvement. And
yeah, not anymore. Doesn't look like it.
Okay, quick count. Count the 2024 ASIs really quick. I'm going to count the 2014. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5.
There's 4. There's 4 in 2024, so they got rid of one.
Okay. So maybe this is for the overpowering of magical secrets and other things.
Listen, I want another feat. I would want another feat.
Too bad you're not getting one.
Well,
I want lucky again.
They've replaced it, and I think also this might be replacing it across the board with a 19th level epic boon feature.
That's true. It is kind of like a epic feat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think worth a moment. Not even really digression. Just like so, epic boons in 2014, as I understand them, are these optional things if you want your campaign to keep going after level 20. Because your characters aren't demigod-like enough, they need to keep having something new.
Yeah.
Break them
and
more.
So now,
see what happens.
And so now these have just been folded into the core classes. And I don't know. Where am I going with this? One, I guess, thoughts on including epic boons just as a thing.
I like them. I like the inclusion. I haven't looked at the epic boon list in 2024. I don't know what they are. But I like their inclusion because I always like the concept of them in the 2014 version. But as somebody who was scaled to put their own party up to level 20, they scaled me as a DM, as a new DM. Listen, Lyssa's giving me, for those who are listening, she's watching me. Listen,
I'm watching.
I'm warming up to the idea now. But as a DM who would only be DMing for 3 years, I'm like, no, thank you. I'm scaled. No, thank you. But so I like them and I like they're included, I'm pretty sure. I think across the board, right? Like every class gets an epic boon now.
I did a super fast look. It looks like that is just 19th level across the board for the core classes. Yeah. So again, super fast survey. It looks like across the board, the boons that are included with the new player's handbook have 1 to 3 things. All of them offer an ability score increase up to a maximum of 30.
Okay, so you do get the ability score increase.
Oh, great.
You get an ability score, and you can break the 20 point cap with that.
Oh, that's so great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Oh.
And if you take multiple, you could keep increasing an ability up to 30. If you wanted to.
Love that. Break the game. Break the game.
Oh, it does. The quote recommended boon for bards is the boon of spell recall. A specific ability score, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma up to a maximum of 30, and, quote, free casting. Whenever you cast a spell with a level 1 to 4 spell slot, roll 1d4. If the number you roll is the same as the slot's level, the spell slot isn't expended.
Oh! God, that's good. God, that's good.
Just the chance, just the slightest chance to be able to not use a spell slot.
Yeah.
I love that. It sucks if it never happens, but it would be so overpowered if you just, regain the spell slot even at 18th level. But I love that option for any caster, honestly. That's a great one.
It is. And there's again, like similar to just feats, there are good customization, I think, and good flavor to add to your character. I'm going to pick out one other one just because it looks cool. Boon of energy resistance. You gain resistance to 2 of the following damage types, the entire elemental suite plus psychic and radiant and thunder. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change those resistances. And energy redirection. If you take damage of one of the types chosen for your energy resistances, you can use a reaction to direct damage of the same type towards another creature you can see within 60 feet that isn't behind total cover. That creature must succeed a dexterity save, DC 8 plus con and proficiency, or take damage equal to 2d12 plus your con modifier. So you can give yourself changeable elemental resistances every long rest, and if someone hits you with that same thing, you can tell someone else to take some damage. So
somebody watched a lot of Critical Role because there is an item in that show that did that, and I love that.
And I'm just gonna come down on overall fan of adding epic boons in, because these are like extra cool feats that fit for a 19th level character to me.
Mm.
Yeah,
totally.
And finally, the actual new and improved 20th level feature, Words of Creation. Shardae, take us away.
I just got to read the thing out loud because I need both of you to hear this verbatim. Are you ready? Preface. How bards work in canon D&D lore is like they learn words of creation to learn spells. Like that's just kind of how their magic works. It's how their magic has worked since 2014. They're like, you can be a bard and you can be on this quest for like the words of creation that create spells. And that's where a lot of your magic comes from, is just from singing or talking or the written word or communication in that kind of way. So I love that they tied it in first off. And that's a level 20th feat. I love that they tied it in the lore. Love that. What it says. You have mastered 2 of the words of creation. The words of life and death. You therefore always have the power word heal and power word kill spells prepared. When you cast either spell, I'm not done. When you cast either spell, you can target a second creature with it if that creature is within 10 feet of the first target.
Well, it's a much more fucking useful 20th level feature than Font of Inspiration. Jesus.
They went balls to the wall. Lyssa, please tell me what's in your brain, because your facial expressions are killing me in a good way.
That's so much power.
Yes.
On top of magical secrets?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of power. That's a lot of damage.
That's fucking incredible.
Or healing. Or healing.
Yeah.
Or healing.
But
damage.
I mean,
power word kill. Just instant die. If you're below 100 hit points, like boom, 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 boom. Holy.
With no cap.
Yeah.
Really. If they're within 10 feet of each other.
Yeah.
Dominoes, just like you're playing chess, like boom.
The
boom,
limit,
boom,
the
boom,
limit
boom.
is your spell slot, so you always have them prepared. But it's not like you don't expend the spell slot when you use them.
And you'll still only get it once in a long rest. You have that 9th level spell slot, but only one of them. So
right. Okay. There's the limit. Okay.
And
there is a
this
limit.
Is where I'm like, it's again such a better capstone feature. I am so much more excited about this than superior inspiration. And there are just the slight guardrails of how many 9th level slots you have and your ability to recover them. Quick side question. Players ask me occasionally, how many hit points does that thing have? When they're like, in my case, it's more trying to cast sleep. I don't think I've had someone with Power Word Kill prepared. But as DMs, imagining you have your 20th level bard who's like, hey, that big ass demon over there that we're fighting, how many hit points does it have left? Like, my impulse is to want to give my players an opportunity to use their spell effectively and not totally burn it and have them roll for it. So I guess I want to hear from either and both of you. Yes, both of you. If you have a bard who's or anyone with that power word who's going, hey, how many hit points are there? How do you handle that in game?
I mean, I
know I'm putting you a little on the spot.
I think the non-metagaming way is how hurt do they look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like looking at their injuries, and then gauging, I guess, the difficulty of the combat or like the monster, the creature, is how much on death's door are they?
Yeah.
And then kind of going on.
I try to use that like when I DM, but I totally see where you're coming from in that you really like, this is such an epic spell. The player's going to feel so good if it works. So I feel like it has to be a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Almost.
As you were saying that, I'm imagining offering them a free non-action economy insight check or something to kind of
perception check or something.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so then, you know, they still might fail, and you're like, no idea. A lot of blood, can't tell whose it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty beefy. You have no idea, you know.
Yeah. I think I try to play every combat by vibes because that's the only way I can muscle through combat as a DM sometimes. Is just I like looking at my players, seeing how they're engaging with it. Are they having fun or does it look grindy? And we should probably stop soon. And if we should probably stop soon and they're not having fun, let's amp things up a bit, or let's give a character a moment, or like make it more narrative or something. So I feel like, it would be my gut instinct is if somebody uses this, they've saved this and they want to use it, and I want them to use it as their DM. I want them to have that moment of just boop. They just boop the snoot, and then the demon just falls to the ground, or explodes, or does however they describe how they want to do it. So my gut reaction is just to give it to them a lot of the time. However, I feel like, I don't know, because this would be such high level too. It would just depend on like the middle ground of a free perception insight check to see what they do. Because also by level 20, you've been in so many battles, like your passive perception might be able to tell you in a way if you have a high enough passive perception. To how this creature, this magic, whoever you're fighting is doing as well. So if they have high passive, I try to take passive perception into account whenever I can. Because I think it's a really cool feature that doesn't get used a lot.
I think especially when people especially when people have kind of put the time in their level ups to create a very perceptive or a very insightful character.
Yes. That's their whole thing.
Especially if they have passive perception or passive insight or something like that. You would just give it to them. Be like, listen, he's looking real hurt.
Listen, he's bleeding out of every orifice. What do you think that means?
He's stumbling around. He can barely stay up.
Wow. Well, I have to say, it looks like 2024 Bard wins. We have 6 of 100%. These points in its favor. And I'm going to say my final thought seems like 2024 did the Bards well and is in fact an improvement. I mean,
agree.
that's. I'll go with that. I don't know. Final Bard thoughts. Other Bard thoughts.
I have so many. I'd be here for hours. So I'll leave it at. I did look at when the playtest was first coming out. Bards had this feature where they could use inspiration to just heal people passively, and I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I got a lot of flack for it from Lyssa and somebody else I talked to about saying, why do you hate this? This is mechanically good. I don't know if she was actually giving me a hard time because she thought that, or just because she likes to watch me suffer and make me mad. It could be either.
This is the root of the best friendships and partnerships.
True. So true. But essentially what I think, I can't remember off the top of my head how it worked, but I think you expended an inspiration to reaction heal somebody instead of give them inspiration. I didn't like that because I thought it shoehorned bards into being the de facto healer. And I'm like, with bards being the most versatile class in my opinion, like I just don't just turn a bard into a healer. Like maybe have a subclass that's based off of, that'd be great. But like, don't give that to all bards because maybe the bard doesn't want to heal people. And like, you want to just play music or be a poet or whatever. And I thought it was real dumb. They didn't do that in the final version. And I just want to say my playtest like feedback was heard. They listened to me. And honestly, WotC, you do a lot of crap. And I'm mad at you 80% of the time. But you just earned mad respect for me from not doing that. I'm gonna say that would have been awful, and they didn't do that. And I love these bards.
I mean, I agree. 80% of the time, I hate everything that I hear about it. And today, I am feeling both charitable, and the bards put me in a good mood. Well done on the bard team.
Yay, bards.
Lyssa, any final bard thoughts, or you want to take us right into druids?
It's fucking broken. I want to play it.
Yeah. Yes. Also this.
All bard campaign. All bard campaign. All bard campaign.
I honestly, I really want to do it sometimes because it's just, you can really do an incredible all bard party and it would be totally successful. Yeah.
It'd be so good. It'd be so different. Because I know sometimes that people are really trepidatious. I am too when I'm a player. It's like, oh, somebody's already playing a druid. Somebody's already playing an artificer. Somebody's already playing. That happened in the last campaign I was in. Like, I wanted to play an artificer. Somebody was already doing it. I wanted to play a druid. Somebody was already doing it. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll be the fighter. I guess I'll do that. And like, it's great because like it helped narrow down my choices or whatever. But it's, you can be something that somebody else is being because there's so many different flavors you can do with subclasses and just how the class works. And bard is just the cream of the crop. And I feel like you could honestly, with 5th edition and with 1D&D, you could probably do like oops all druids, oops all fighters, oops all paladins, and you could have different flavors of everything because they're differentiated enough.
I completely agree. I will touch on the last thing that I say periodically, which is I think it's always the responsibility of the DM to properly balance your for your party, not ask your party to fulfill specific roles. I tell my kids this, I'm like, guys, don't worry. If you're all fighters, it's my job to make sure you have enough healing potions. You should not be worried about it,
I give my players a lot of crap, like, you guys are all casters, you're trying to kill me. But at the same time, I'm like, I fucking love casters. Yeah. This is great. Hard to balance, really difficult, but I love this. There's no melee people. It's very interesting how that works.
I just find it easier to join a campaign and be like, what are you missing? Let me do that thing.
So valid. Yeah. That's another so valid way to go about it. Yeah.
Because otherwise it's like, what do I choose from all of these options when I could just eliminate the options that already exist? And they would be like, I can fulfill whatever role you need me to because that's just easier for me.
Heck
Definitely. That was part 1. Stick around. Come back 2 weeks from now. We will have part 2 talking about druids with our dear friends, the Slovenly Trulls. And I can't wait for you to hear it. We had such a good time. Once again, thank you all so much for listening. Find us on the social media. Hit us up on any of those platforms. And if you're on Patreon, don't forget, for as little as $1 a month, send us questions to ask our guests. We've got some good ones, but I know that all of you have some really interesting questions too. So If you are a supporter, head on over to patreon.com/therollreport and submit a question for our guests. And if you're not a supporter, you could be for as little as $1 a month. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with part 2 of Classing Up the Joint with the Slovenly Trulls on Druids.